Hi everyone, my name is Ikea and I'm an experienced OBGYN sonographer. Today I actually wanted to get on here and talk about my experience and my journey as a Black sonographer. It's not really of a lot of us in this field. We only make up about 4% in the last 2 years. Before we would only made up 3%. So I actually want to talk about that today. In the beginning, when I was looking for a different path, I was actually doing hair. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. A lot of people don't know that about me. But even though I had a talent for doing hair, I wasn't really passionate about doing hair. And to me, I wasn't making as much money as like some hairstylists that I knew. Like maybe because they had a passion for it or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't making enough money. So I was like, I kind of want to do something else. And I don't want to really stand on my feet all day and exert my body to make the kind of money that I want to make. So I literally got on Google one day. Yes, Google. And I Googled like, what is it that what school can I go into or what profession can I go into for a small amount of time for school to make a lot of money? Something like that. And sonography was one of the things that popped up. So as I started doing my research, I was like, oh, this may be something that may like to do. I like anatomy, I'm interested in the human body. Let me see. I actually didn't know anything about sonographers, ultrasound. I didn't know anything about that because at the time when I started it, I hadn't had any babies. I had never had an ultrasound before. So I really didn't know much about the field. So when I went into it, I did my research and I seen that the schooling wasn't long because I went to FAMU before. So had prior college credits that helped me make my schooling a little shorter. So I was like, oh, perfect. Let me just go into it. So that's kind of how I got into sonography in the first place. Now, when I started school, I did have like a couple Black girls in my class. Like I had 3 other girls that I can remember from the top of my head from class. Right now, I know for a fact one of them outside of myself is still an active sonographer. But when I got into school, I didn't even think about, oh, this is a field that is predominantly white. There's no Black women in it. There's no Black men. Like I didn't even think about that because when I went into class, my class was very diverse. Honestly, it was like, including myself, like 5 Black girls, Spanish, white. So I didn't even really think of that. Just being the minority in that way. But when I got into the field, things changed. And I think until recently and until I made my social media, I've never met another Black sonographer until I started my social media journey. Now, when I first started as a sonographer and I was trying to look for a job and everything like that, I did kind of bounce around. I think most of the times when you're a new sonographer, you kind of bounce around. You get your first job, then you'll try to look for something else because maybe they gave you part-time hours or maybe they pay you a little. So you try to find something that's going to pay you more or give you more hours. And that's kind of how I was in the beginning. So that's how I knew bouncing around from job to job in the beginning, trying to get better pay, trying to get better hours, trying to get more hours. That's when I start realizing like, I'm always the only Black person here. Like, like in medical in general, like outside of nurses in the hospital, I'm always like the only Black person. And this has been constant. And I've been a sonographer for almost 10 years. And that really did play on it played on my mental a little bit because you feel comfortable when you see someone that has somewhat of your same experiences, can relate to you and everything like that. So that was interesting. I just kind of felt like as a Black sonographer, I feel like in Black people in general, but especially as a Black sonographer, I kind of feel like I was always looked at like I didn't know what I was doing, or people were surprised that I was their sonographer, especially because I was a lot younger too when I started. So I had the young thing going on. I'm a young Black woman. So I kind of feel like I didn't get the respect. I had to create really harsh boundaries for people to really respect me in the beginning. And it was very unfortunate because Becky can come in, same age, look the same, look young and everything, and she will automatically be treated with respect, or they'll automatically trust her like she knows what she's doing. But I walk in and it's kind of like you can feel the shift, as if I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what I'm doing, or they're unsure, like, why are you my sonographer? Things like that. And that did mess with my confidence a little bit in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be lying to you if I said that it didn't. But I also had to remember that these people hired me because of my resume. They believe in me. They found me charismatic for whatever reason in the interview, and they love my personality, and I belong here. So I tried to shake off that imposter syndrome in the beginning. and just push forward. And that really helped me. But when you work with coworkers and they look down on you or they feel like they're better than you, because we all know what's up, especially if you grew up in America as a black person, you already know people are already judging you before they even know you, and they make you feel that. Even if they're not even trying, you feel it. So in the beginning, it was kind of like it was difficult to navigate. I even had other sonographers kind of like treat me as if I didn't know what I was doing, or spread like little things about me, like I didn't know what I was doing, or I wasn't competent, to other sonographers at other places. And that tied into later on down the line when I got different jobs and start seeing the connections between sonographers. Like, oh, they really are kind of like double teaming me. And that was tough, but as time went on, especially as I got more experience and especially as I became more comfortable in setting boundaries and got a little bit more direct, not rude, but direct, things begin to shift for me, for sure. I feel like when you black in the medical field, people automatically think she's not professional, she's not competent, she's not going to be on time. I struggle with that a little bit, but I just feel like there's always a judgment there. You know what I'm saying? And I did feel like I kind of had to overcome those stereotypes. Like, I always made sure I was there on time. I always made sure I did a little bit extra work. You know how we all do. Like, we got to work harder than they have to work harder. And I did that because I wanted to make my mark, because I started to understand that the sonography and medical world is small. So whatever review you get from this doctor, he'll go tell this doctor, like, oh, she's really good, or she's a hard worker, or she knows her stuff. I start making sure I really knew my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, every time I see a pathology, I want to make sure I know exactly what it is. So if it pops up again, I know what it is. I start making sure my reports were really good. I start making sure I, had a good rapport with the doctors. I wanted to make sure they trusted me. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that other people don't have to go out of their way to do. I think other people do have to make sure that they are good employees, and that, people and the doctors and everyone trust them. But I definitely think that as a black sonographer, you almost have to go up and beyond to say, hey, I know what I'm doing. You can trust me. Like, I know I'm black, but I'm smart and I'm good with people, and I got good customer service. And speaking of customer service, that's really one of the best things that nobody can take from me. I don't care what color you are. Every single one of my patients feel good when they leave me, because even if I have a bad day, I'm going to make sure I do not rub off on my patient. I want every patient to leave and be like, oh my God, my sonographer was so nice. So, and in the beginning, I didn't have the knowledge that other experienced sonographers had. So I made sure I was really, really kind to the patient. I made sure that the patient remembered how I made them feel. That was my, one up, that was something that made me stand apart. So I focused on that because I knew in the beginning it was going to take time for me to get really good at scanning. It was going to take a time for me to really understand every pathology or feel comfortable, in my position, because I was new. So I just maximized on the talents that I knew I had. And how you make patients feel, a lot of times you'll realize that kind of goes up and beyond a lot of things, because yes, they want you to know what you're doing, but they also want you to be kind to them. And that kind of helped me solidify a lot of my spots at the job, because I became the sonographer or the employee that everyone loved. That, oh, I want to schedule my ultrasound with IKEA, so that's kind of one of the things I did to pave the way. And I always kept it professional, because again, they look at us and they automatically think we're not professional. You're not going to think that out of me. I'm always going to be professional. I'm always going to look good. I'm always going to make sure I got it together. My hair's going to be combed. If it's not, I'm going to have on a scrub cap. I'm always going to look presentable and nice, because I don't want to give anyone a reason to think that, they put me in a stereotypical box. Over the years, too, I realized it's really important to have diversity in the workplace, because patients that look like me, they feel relieved. Like, when you have a black woman or a brother come in and they see that you are their sonographer, they feel it. I always feel an instant sigh of relief, especially if you're super kind. I feel like it almost feels like, oh my God, I feel like you're gonna make sure I'm okay. Like, it's like an unspoken language between us. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna take care of everybody, but that I'm not going to have a bias towards the patient. Just feel like I'm not going to have a bias towards them because they're black. They're going to be like, oh no, my sister's going to take care of me. And they're right. And that's why I feel like it's important to have diversity, because Everyone should feel comfortable. Listen, I stated earlier that sonography jumped up to 4% in the last 2 years. It was only 3% of Black people in sonography. Now it's 4%. So more of us are becoming sonographers. I encourage you to become a sonographer if you're really thinking about it. Don't get discouraged because it's too hard. You're looking at somebody that was not valedictorian. I'm not super brainiac. I failed physics twice in order to pass it. I'm not a good test taker, and I can do it. You can do it. So I encourage you to please, please, please just do it because you can. I'm a walking testament. I didn't come from, a two-parent household that was doing homework every night. No, I had to get it strictly from nothing. And if I can do it, I know you can do it. But if you have any questions or you have any concerns, you can always come to me. You can drop down in the comments. You can DM me. I'm always answering DMs. I actually made this YouTube because I was getting too many DMs. So I'm always trying to answer as many questions as I can. But the main thing is you have to believe that you can do it. Now, I have a lot of stories about my experience in sonography, and I'm going to get into that as well. I just don't want to make a real long, drawn out video. Plus, I want to know what you're interested in. So if you do want to hear those stories, I got a whole bunch of stories of a whole bunch of racism, a whole bunch of discrimination in the workplace, and I can tell you how that looks. I can tell you what it feels like. Most of us already know what it feels like, but I can break it down and I can let you know because I did experience it, unfortunately, in the workplace. And I just want to prepare everyone. And you may not even experience that, when you go into it. I pray you don't experience that, but I do want you to understand what you're up against being Black in sonography. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And please let me know in the comments what it is that you would like me to talk about. You like more of this content, you like about sonography in general, whatever questions you will have, put them in the description box and I will make sure to make a video about it. Have a good day. Bye.